right, guys, welcome back to Chasing Rings, the podcast, episode 15. We are back in live action, no more Zoom. There's probably more COVID out there, but we're COVID-free. We're hanging out. We're recording for you guys. Celtics right now, 19-17 going into the All-Star break. They got Jalen and Tatum playing this weekend. Jalen's first All-Star game, Tatum's second. Tatum's actually starting. You got the head nod with KD out. Bruins 13-5-3, coming off a big win last night, 5-1 over the Capitals. There's got a little chippy last night with Chara and the boys. Let's stay tuned for some injury updates on that. Guys, let's jump into the Red Sox. Mookie's gone. Andrew Benintendi's gone.
JBJ.
And JBJ is officially gone, just signed 2 for 24. That whole outfield is gone. You know, they won a World Series, said that they had a lot of fun. It was like a modern day Cowboy up. I think much more talented in the outfield than the 04 team.
Yeah.
But they had so much fun like that 04 team did.
The celebrations in the outfield and stuff.
Yeah, the pictures and all that stuff. I mean, we're definitely going to miss that, but let's talk about it a little bit, guys. Kyle Bloom's kind of really came in. He's shaking things up. He's really put a Hispanic touch on this team with Kiki, Verdugo, keeping Vasquez. It feels like it's going in a new direction. Mm-hmm. I'm excited for it.
I am too.
Give me your guys' kind of feelings about JBJ leaving. Actually, let's recount a little bit and go back. We all said we were okay with JBJ staying under the right deal because $12 million, I would have kept him. He's a Gold Glove outfielder. He's arguably the best center fielder defensively in the league. And guess what? He shows up in the playoffs. He's always shown up. His best hitting has always been in the playoffs. I'll take a Gold Glove regular season guy and a primetime hitter any time of the year.
I thought we were going to bring him back after the Benintendi trade.
That's what I thought.
I thought, but I was sold on him coming back, being a center fielder. But I mean, $12 million is still too much for him, in my opinion. 2 for 24, good for him. I'm surprised his open market value wasn't more, to be honest. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, I love what Kyle's doing with the team. Looking at the potential starting lineups, it's a completely new outfield, obviously. Infield is definitely going to be shaken up a little bit. You still have JD there as a big bat. You still have Xander. Yeah, I'm excited, and I can't wait to see how the pitching staff does. The offseason is what we wanted, right? They've been going after pitching. It started slow, but they have been going after relief pitching, and I can't wait to watch the Red Sox this year.
And one thing I heard JD Martinez speak on, he came out recently and said he took ownership for last year. He said he wasn't sure about COVID, and he basically didn't show up. He said he checked out, and that this year they're not going to catch him off guard. I think he has a huge season.
It makes sense too, because baseball might be the most mental game out of everything, and maybe besides golf. You know what I mean? Baseball is just you, a bat, and a ball. So it's completely mental.
You get one chance, and then you don't swing the bat for potentially an hour.
Yeah.
So you can be in your head, and I know that sounds dramatic, but it's true. You can be in your head for that hour.
Yeah.
I should have swung at the pitch before, and then I missed that one.
You can chip away at yourself.
It's 100% a mental game, and that's why I like that we're kind of going with, and we're not an all Hispanic team, but we're going to get that kind of vibe, that culture, that atmosphere. We're going to take the pressure off some of the guys and just have some fun with it. And I think Cora brings that, and that's why you see a lot of teams like the Rays last year, who the hell was it? Not the Nationals. Well, the Nationals had a good run too, but I'm trying to think of another team that you just didn't expect them to make the World Series. The Royals.
Kansas City, yeah.
The Royals, right? So they get that chemistry and they're having fun in the dugout, and that's what kind of drives a baseball team. Yeah. Look at the Yankees. Why haven't they won 10 World Series in the last 10 years? It's just something hasn't clicked.
Yeah, it's
not the talent level.
They're just a money team.
Yeah, they're
every Red Sox championship we've watched, it's been the Cowboy up. It's been the after the 9/11 that year. It's been consistently just a team banding together.
You mean the bombing?
Yes,
the miracle
bomb.
Yeah.
It's been just a team bond, just coming together and just basically it's us against the world, right?
Yeah, just having fun, enjoying playing the game.
It's the city against everyone else.
Exactly, and it's been so fun to see. So some of the new guys, like Kiki Hernandez, he's 4 for 6 with 2 doubles and a home run. Verdugo, he's only had 2 at bats, but he's 1 for 2 with the double. Durant, who's a younger guy, I mean, he's hitting well.
Downs, baby.
Yeah, Jeter Downs is going to be a stud. I'm really hoping he's on the
Bobby
AAA
Dalbec.
team. And Bobby Dalbec has 3 home runs this year. So we're going to have, because we just picked up that third baseman, Marwin Gonzalez, who's kind of a power bat. So we're going to have a platoon at first and third. Obviously, Devers is the number one guy at third, but they're going to be able to move guys around. We got to find the third outfielder because I think Renfroe and Verdugo is going to be two of them now. Are they going to move Kiki to the outfield and then maybe force Marwin Gonzalez to play second? I don't know. I think we have so much potential to move this team around. It's going to be a lot of fun. So what do you guys think? Like, just right off the bat, do you have any takes right now of who the third outfielder is? Because I think you have to assume Renfroe and Verdugo are starting, and who the second baseman and first baseman are. Because right now it's like,
yeah, it could be JD one day, it could be Shot. Like even
Chavis
Shot
he's a big question mark. It's kind of like a make or break year for him. Like he came up big and he was like big power.
Chavis?
Ice horse, like Chavis, yeah. And then he took a step back. But I think last year too, I don't want to forget. Like I think COVID was still so new for everyone. That I think now that we have more information, I think they're better prepared to go in the season. And I think they're expecting a full season, right, this year.
they're expecting a full season. The weird thing about last year,
with COVID still.
yeah, they had like 6 weeks of spring training, and then just it's over.
Then it was suspended, and then they got like a late deal.
And then they started in like July or August. I mean, that was a nightmare of a season for anybody. Because baseball training is so different than like basketball. Like you need someone to play catch with.
Yeah, you need to see pitches.
You need to see pitches.
You need to actually warm up.
And the strength and conditioning isn't like just going to the gym. It's so different, like training a throwing arm and training your legs and your hips and your glutes. So it's a very weird year. So I've said it since the fall, since we started chasing rings. Screw last year. You really can't take much out of last year. It's a wash, just across the board. So any hot takes on who's starting right field, second, and first base, the whole right side of the field?
I think right field would probably be Marwin, but it could also be Franchi Cordero. I know he's like the young gun on the team. I'd love to see them go young, but like I'm fine with Marwin. He's a switch hitter, like you said, he hits for power. But besides that, I don't know. Maybe they'd even throw Chavis in the
Kiki
outfield.
Hernandez has played the outfield too,
And,
so they can put anyone at second base.
They might just do like right field based on matchup.
They have versatility options. On one hand, I'm sad to see JBJ go because I think they're going to miss him more than they are. Like, and like Luke, you said it was a little too pricey, but like I don't think it's too much.
It was right on the line. Yeah, like I was expecting more than 2 for 24 for him, but it's still like I don't want to pay him $12
He's going to be a big piece for the
it's
Brewers,
so
so
tough.
I think that's a good signing for the
He's
Brewers.
a great outfielder. He's just
Now,
like,
let me
he's
ask you this.
inconsistent.
So, like, Mookie, Yelich, all those guys are making like $35-40 million a year. Do you really think JBJ is only worth 1/4 of them? I mean, I don't. He's the best defensive center fielder in the league.
He's 100% 1/4 of Mookie. You saw what Mookie did for the Dodgers last year. Like Mookie is a fucking superstar.
I get it. Like, honestly, I was expecting him to get like $20 million. Just because of the market,
For
like
JBJ?
people,
I expected a bigger market too, 100%.
So that's
like
where
$12 million for the Brewers is a discount, but for us, what we're doing, like it's so tough to say.
They made a choice to go youth, which I'm okay with.
Yeah.
I would have liked them to keep Jackie for some stability because now we do have options in outfield.
Yeah.
But if guys get hurt or if guys aren't producing, now you have like a kind of like we talked about the Celtics, like a bunch of guys that aren't doing much.
Yeah.
Like they have to figure it out.
Yep.
Looking back on that era, I think Mookie's the one guy I really like miss. Like I think that's the one where they messed up on. Where I think you keep him.
He didn't want to stay. We offered him the same amount that he left the Dodgers for like 3 years earlier. So it's like
if he doesn't want to be here,
I want to bring something up that's kind of been this like new Boston sports trend. We've already played 4 games, 5, 6 games, something like that in spring training, and Jackie Bradley just signed 2 days ago. What is going on? Like Cam Newton was brought into camp in July last year. Thompson and Teed were signed like 2 weeks before the season started. It's like what is this new trend of like not giving your organization a full offseason together?
I think it's a more lie and wait and see what happens, and then make your move.
Yeah.
That has a Bill Belichick written
chess
over it.
versus checkers.
I think it's like let's
let the other dominoes fall in place.
Yeah. See what everyone
I just don't know how I feel about it. Like for me in my mind, I'm like, okay, it's Verdugo and Jackie, and then the third position's most likely Renfroe, but he's gonna compete with the other guys. And now it's like, so Renfroe has to start now in my mind, and who's a third? Now we're platooning a third. It's
more of a question mark.
It's a question mark, and it's gonna be a little tough for like Cora and the other coaches as well, because I know Cora doesn't coach every spring season game. But this is really. It's weird. It's a Boston thing right now.
I'm fine with the, like, specific for the Red Sox, I'm fine with the question mark in right field right now. Like, right, the Boston outfield is one of the toughest outfields to play.
That's
But-
what worries me.
I know, but like if you had more concern over pitching than right field, that's more concerning to me. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like I'm glad that they're starting to work towards pitching. We saw Erod pitch yesterday,
It was
right?
2 1/3, which perfect.
I'm just glad to see him back on the field.
Absolutely.
Like I'm fine with the question mark in right field. That's all.
Mhm.
More than like starting rotation, more than catcher. Like
I think they do better as underdogs too. Like the Red Sox in general. It seems like they like you mentioned the Yankees, Vic, where it's like they've had so much pressure to win World Series for so long because they go out and they spend and they get the big name guys. And the Red Sox did that for a couple of years when they were getting guys like Kyle Crawford and Pablo Sandoval, which was a disaster. Like they overspent on guys based on names.
yeah.
And like they've won World Series obviously lately, but like they've kind of learned their lesson, I think, and they're kind of leaning. Actually, they're almost going full correct the other way, where it's like they're instead of paying Jackie, they're going, no, we're gonna have our chance with our other guys or develop our system, which is interesting. But
Just reading on the stats real quick on the Sox, it's interesting because I know this is just preseason spring training. They're 500, but they have by far scored the most runs out of all the other teams.
yeah, the offense
The
will be
offense-
there.
yeah,
So
the
like
offense-
it's going to be explosive.
Right.
And they're not exposing their pitching yet, which is good.
Yeah.
They're really
I mean,
like,
Sale's still injured, right? He's on the
and
DL.
they haven't even pitched all the new relievers yet, which is fine with me. So I'm looking at CBS Sports right now, which might not be the best source, but they have Bobby Dalbec starting at first base right now, Kiki at second, Franchi Cordero in left, Verdugo in center, Renfroe in right. So you're potentially right about the Cordero thing based off of this. And I'm fine with Kiki at second. He's been solid defensively anywhere, but Dahlbeck starting at 1. So, I mean, Chavis is out. Mitch Moreland's still a free agent, I believe. And
No, I think he just signed.
did he end up
Yeah,
signing?
he was signed.
I think he just did like a
They
couple
don't even
weeks
have
ago.
Downs on the team yet.
I mean,
I don't think
Mitch-
Jeter will make
Mitch is
this.
not coming
He
back.
signed with Oakland.
Oh, he did? Okay. So, I don't see Jeter Downs making this. He's going to make the 40-man. I don't think he's going to
Maybe
make
a
the
call-up.
25. I think he'll be a call-up. What would be great to see, if we see ourselves around 500, I say you 100% bring Downs up, just like we did the year that Bogarts came up and he played third base. We ended up winning the World Series with him playing third base, which was really cool. I'd love to see Downs go to second, Hernandez goes to the outfield, and takes over for whichever one is struggling. But let's really look at it. Bogarts is a potential 30 home run and a 40 doubles guy. Devers, the same thing. JD Martinez, potentially the same thing. I'm just saying potentially,
Yeah.
right? Verdugo's a 20 home run and a 30 double guy. Kiki Hernandez is probably 15 to 20 home runs and a 25 to 30 doubles guy. We have the offensive power. Vasquez is a 20 home run guy. Like, there is a strong chance that we're top 5 in home runs, doubles, and slugging percentage. So it's real. We just need the
Decent
pitching staff to
pitching.
be decent. That's
Not
all
even
it
great.
is.
We need a closer, and we need a setup and a closer, and we need the rotation to be healthy. That's it.
I
Yeah.
am slightly worried about Xander's shoulder injury he's got right now, though. I know they're holding him out for a few days, so they say it's like minor, but I'm just
I'd be
worried.
more
I
concerned
was,
with.
I was told Kemba's knee was minor too.
Yeah.
That's,
We're going to get into the Celtics and
they're
Tommy
running
points.
back to it.
Right. So, guys, overall right now, I think we're 6 games into this, right, Joe? And you have the stats in front of you. Are we pretty confident with what the Red Sox are doing right now?
yeah, I'm
Yeah,
all
I
in.
think we're hopeful. I mean, it's kind of nice because I'm not really expecting much this year. So it's
Exactly.
kind of like in past years, it's like World Series or bust, or like they've been expected to do much. This year, I'm kind of like, okay, we're kind of rebuilding. It kind of reminds me of the Patriots a little bit, where it's like this is a new page where it's like we're in a transition time, where it's like we have the pieces, we have the lineup,
Yeah.
but we're not quite there. So I'm interested to see what happens.
Yeah, I same way. Like I was sold on the Pats being like, this year is basically what we said for last year for baseball, where it's like this is a COVID year, like it is what it is. But like obviously it was transitioning from Brady to not having Brady.
Right.
So this is the same thing, sort of, as like you're transitioning from like bulking up your roster based on like just off-season paychecks, where this is more strategic signing. So like they could be last in the division, who knows? Or they could be second, or they could be first. I'm just excited to watch this season.
As long as they're trending up, I think. Is
Exactly. Yeah. Watch the young guns, see how they perform. Sort of like when Brad Stevens came to the Celtics, and we had a terrible year, right? And then the next year, flipped it on its head. Could be something like that, but I agree. They're trending up, and I'm excited to watch them.
Yeah. The one thing I do like, so they brought in Marlon Gonzalez and Hunter Renfroe, and they're little 29 and 31 years old. For the most part, though, they're focusing on the youth.
Yeah.
They're focused on the rebuild. They're rebuilding the farm system. The Redsox down the street from us is going to be a great show. The park is beautiful. There's going to be tons of bars and things like that to do.
Can't we get some Beyond Meat hot dogs there?
Amen, bro. It's going to be a good time. But no, I really like the direction they're going in. But let's move on to the Patriots, guys. So we're starting to get some news about this offseason, right? So we got opt-ins. Cannon says he's back. Hightower's back. Chung is back. And Brandon Bolden's back. You know, we had a top 5, top 7 defense, statistically, visually, like, whatever. Now we're adding a leader. We know Hightower is not the guy he was 7, 8 years ago.
Could be
but
fresh,
he's
though.
but he's coming off a year of rest. He's going to bring veteran leadership into the middle of that front 7, which I think was not a weak spot of our defense, but a weaker spot of our defense. So I think that leadership, the play calling, the visuals that he can provide to a younger front 7 is going to be great. Cannon gives us potential to say bye to Joe Tooney.
Which is still unfortunate, but yeah.
Of course. Brandon Bolden coming in. I think he's going to bring in, that special teams and just excite that a little bit more.
Who had more running back depth? I know people give Brandon Bolden shit, but like I love Brandon Bolden.
He has like one good game a year.
Yeah, whenever he gets
He's good in
something,
special
He's the hardest hitter on the team.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I do really like that he's coming back
He's a
to help Matt Slater and those guys. And then, Patrick Chung. Where is he going to fit in? Adrian Phillips was an absolute home run of a signing. What a deal. I love him. What's his name? Our rookie. Why am I blanking on him? Safety rookie.
The D2 player.
Yeah.
I forget his name too.
Wow.
We're all blanking on him.
Anyway.
Sorry for the
Yeah. But, our Division II rookie that we drafted. Yeah, Duggar. Duggar was very solid, so now we're going to have Chung, Duggar, McCourty. All those guys, I think it's going to be interesting. We're getting deeper. We get to get more creative with more speed on the defense, but all these guys, Chung can tackle, Duggar can tackle, Phillips can tackle.
We don't know if Chung can tackle because of the shoulder, but yeah.
He'll be fine. He's already
Hopefully
year off.
he's going to be fresh, too. I was just saying, injuries, sorry, not to cut you off, Vic, but 2 players that are coming back that I have questions with injuries on is Chung. Well, he's kind of older, but Marcus Cannon, he's great when he plays, but he's never on the field. He's always got something. So those 2 players are...
Here's the thing. We look at guys like Adrian Peterson who got a year off with a big injury. Tom Brady, year off with a big injury, and look at their careers. It might have extended their careers for all we know. So I'm hopeful there. So the other guys that we're looking at that we haven't heard from, Lacoste, a very average tight end. Hopefully if he opts in, we waive him because let's go with Izzo, Asiasi, and whatever, unless we bring in a guy.
Rudolph.
Yeah, Kyle Rudolph, Henry, who knows? We'll talk about that. Vitel, who we got in from the Packers, I think we were all excited for, and then he opted out, and we went with Jacob Johnson. I would assume they tell him to pound sand, and we just keep Jacob Johnson. They're both going to be Jacob Johnson's a free agent, and then Marquise Lee, who I thought was a sneaky good signing last year.
I was excited to watch him.
I'm interested to see what happens because Bird's a free agent. We let Sanudo, obviously. We have to rebuild that wide receiver core. I wonder if we invest in Lee and want him back at $2 million a year. I would guess that's kind of a Bill Belichick move. Let's see what we can get out of him.
Yeah.
He was solid at Jacksonville. So that's going to be interesting. Guys, let's talk about the quarterback. The biggest question mark in the room. Some guys have started moving really a slow offseason for these free agent quarterbacks, especially the draft is 6 weeks away.
I think that's what people are waiting for.
I know. Joe, tell me right now, who is your absolute quarterback want? That's a realistic one. We're not even going to talk the Aaron Rodgers stuff because, realistically, who would you want that you think could be available to trade or free agency?
In free agency, I'd like to give Mariota a shot.
Marcus Mariota?
Cam Newton, obviously a free agent, but I think he'll resign. Stidham is under contract, so he's just going to be laying around anyway. I'd like to. I know Mariota hasn't had a great run at it, but he hasn't had great coaching either. And he's been banged up a little bit, but I think that under the right system, he'd be a decent fit.
I do agree with that. So when he came back from it, the year before his big injury was a good year. He came back, played like shit under Vrabel, and Vrabel said, I got this guy Tannehill, he's 6'4", he's got a cannon of arm, I'm going to give him a chance. Lightning in a bottle, it worked, right? So then Mariota got squeezed out. They sent him to Oakland for a 5th-round pick or something crazy like that to back up Derek Carr with essentially their quarterback guru. Now, he's never coached a quarterback into being a great quarterback, but they call him the quarterback guru with his college camps and all that stuff. maybe Mariota holding a clipboard behind a good quarterback, Derek Carr's a good quarterback, under a pretty good offensive coach in Gruden, might have revamped his career, how he sees the field, his vision. Physically, he's a solid player. He's not a Deshaun Watson type, but he's more Russell Wilson with his speed and his movement, and his arm is solid. So I'm interested to see what Mariota does. There's potentially a team out there that would want him as a starter.
Yes, 100%. But he's a mobile quarterback with the same concerns we had for Cam, which was his inaccuracy last year. He has a strong arm, but he's inaccurate. Even though the one game he started, he's very inaccurate.
It's tough.
Great athlete.
On one game, but just to come on.
100%. But my pick would be Tyrod. Tyrod Taylor. I want Tyrod.
That's like your hopeful.
I think he's a free agent. He had all those mishaps like that took him out as a starter for the Chargers.
That's fair.
I think whether realistically, I think Cam's coming back, but Tyrod would fit into the offense that they were developing for Cam. Full offseason of that. Tyrod's a smart player too. He's been in the division. He's played for I think every team in the division besides us.
As much as it pains me to say this too, I think realistically, we can't sleep on Jimmy G. I think that ultimately they'd love to have him back.
It could be. I mean, it could be.
Too.
It definitely could be. They're talking Hail Mary trades Russell Wilson to San Francisco and stuff like that. Who knows what's going to happen with the quarterbacks this offseason?
I think a lot of guys just want their voices to be heard and don't actually Deshaun Watson's one thing. He wants out. I don't blame him. They traded Hopkins. JJ Watson, screw this. I'm out. Watson is gone eventually, somehow, some way. Even if he gets kicked out.
Even if he just sits out the year, we could see him just.
Yeah, out. Exactly. So who knows with that? One team, guys, for Marcus Mariota, and I don't want to get too far down the quarterback hole. I think the Bengals are going to try to find a way to get him to start this season for Burrow. Yeah. And then when Burrow's ready from his ACL, obviously he gets a starting job back.
Those receivers are
very good. And that would get Mariota 7 to 8 games potentially to showcase himself. Then trade him for trade him for a fourth rounder to someone who, I think that's the move.
That's just business 101.
Yeah, right there, guys. Check out my business podcast as well. It's called Vic's Business. But no,
it's terrible.
It's terrible. Yeah, working title. But no, for me, guys, I'll give you mine. My quarterback want right now, bring back our BC boy, Matt Ryan. Yeah, I think he's still a very healthy and a very capable quarterback. Yep. If he has weapons around him, he still feeds Julio, Ridley. Who's the other guy that broke out for them this year?
What was the tight end?
We had him a couple times.
Yeah,
absolute stud. He had another breakout year.
You said Ridley already, right?
Yeah. They had another one. Oh, Russell Gage. Mm-hmm. So I would love Matt Ryan. I think he would be cheap enough for us to trade for him. And I think the Falcons need to go into some sort of rebuild. I think they should trade Julio, trade Matt Ryan, keep those young guys.
100%.
Get a young running back. Get rid of Gurley.
We destroyed them.
Yeah.
That Super Bowl loss completely destroyed them.
Yeah, they broke the franchise.
They will never recover until they start over.
It just read error message on their things.
Yeah,
it's so crazy. If Matt Ryan came here and kind of correct his career, he won a Super Bowl with the Patriots.
Dude,
after getting destroyed by them.
Sometimes to reverse the curse, you have to join the curse.
Matt Ryan, in my opinion, is a Hall of Famer. His statistics show it. He went to a Super Bowl. It's very hard to win. It's very hard to win in the NFL. We all know that. I mean, Russell Wilson's been one of the best quarterbacks the last 10 years, and he's only won one. So it's very hard to win in the NFL. So I think that's my realistic potential dream is Matt Ryan. My true prediction is Cam Newton with a rookie instead of.
Yep. Yeah, fourth or fifth round. I'm projecting fourth or fifth round.
It's something stupid that will never ever play in the NFL.
They'll probably cut Stidham this year.
Potentially.
I would give up 15 in a heartbeat for Matt Ryan, by the way. 100%.
Yeah.
I really like Matt Jones.
If we're spending money on receivers, absolutely.
Yeah, not with the current roster.
And Gilmore and maybe a running back.
What?
Yeah.
You're just overpaying, just give
anything
you
want.
want.
You're trying to get rid of the team.
We'll trade Bill Belichick too. Get rid of him. So Kyle,
they can have Patricia.
Who's your realistic want and who's your prediction?
I forgot about Matt Ryan. But what I actually put down is Jimmy G because I know he's got injury issues, but I do think that Bill loves Jimmy, and I do think that he has at least some experience in this offense. We had more weapons back then, but I wish they would bring someone back like Chris Hogan, but I think he just signed somewhere.
I'm done. We need it.
We need
to go young.
So
we need speed.
For wide receivers, I think that we're not going to go after Godwin. I think the Bucks are going to try to re-sign him. I think that we might get Galladay.
Kenny
Galladay would be good.
Dude, there's
I would love Allen
huge
Robinson.
too.
I'm all in on Allen Robinson.
Yeah.
I would
Yeah,
pay
they're
that
in.
man. He is a great receiver.
I really hope, all due respect to Jules, he's had the Hall of Fame career and a Patriots career. I really hope they don't bank on him too much because I'm not sure how much he has left in the tank.
He might retire.
I feel like he's hanging on by a
He's
thread.
not one to retire like that. He'll come back.
I hope they don't say, oh, well, we have Jules, so he's our number one guy. It's like, I hope so.
It's
but-
very weird. So in the offseason last year, Sanu, Myers, Harry, Jules, they all worked out with Cam the day that Cam signed. Like, not the day, but within like 48 hours, they were working out. North Carolina, up here, wherever it was. And Jules got a little banged up, so get your rest. But he was cleared and healthy to play the last few games of the season, and he just kind of opted out. Now that was... Now, is it an injury opt-out?
Nothing to play for at that point, though.
Yeah, it wasn't worth
Well,
it.
we were still in it. Week 14, week 13, we still had a chance to make the playoffs. Now, we're not winning the Super Bowl. I get it. So was it a, listen, let me get healthy. Let me take these potential 5-6 weeks off if we made the playoffs.
Or let me see how Brady does.
Or was it like, why am I coming back to these schleps?
I think it was load up for next year. Like,
That's the thing. When you look at Julian Edelman, I think the assumption, his attitude, his tenacity, his will to win, you assume that it's, let me get healthy for next year, boys. But part of me is like, maybe he said, you know what, Tommy's winning down there with Gronk, and this is a shit show. Why am I coming back?
It's tough when your boys leave, like Brady and Gronk. Like it's definitely tough to stay stay competitive, especially based on what he's been used to, and then transitioning to this. Like we could see him leave. I don't think he's retiring though. I think that either way he'll be playing football next year.
Yeah, and
he's one of those guys that says I can't go out like that.
Exactly.
It's funny because, so I'm 30, he's like 35. I broke my leg playing slow pitch softball recreationally last year.
I broke my leg slipping on ice.
I know. And I'm questioning whether I want to play softball again at 30 years old. He's 35 and he goes over the middle in the NFL.
He's also has a personal trainer and shit.
Listen, I get it. I'm just saying, like, there has to be some
athlete.
second thoughts. He has a kid now. His daughter's like 3 or 4 years old. I mean, he just...
Yeah, 3 or 4 though, they forget what
Yeah,
they're
they got time for one more year this year.
But I know. So he could be questioned whether he comes back. It was funny. I shared that article with you guys. I don't know if you read it. N'Keal Harry saying he would love Cam Newton back. He taught him how to be a professional. And the things that we've heard from Joe and Joe's girlfriend, I don't know what being a professional is in the NFL when you only catch 6 passes a year.
We also heard in the Cam interview on the What I Am Athlete, like Cam is very high on N'Keal, and his
and very high on Bill Belichick too.
Yeah, so I said it last year, I think N'Keal can be a player still. We've seen flashes of it last year that we didn't see with Brady because
he's so big
he wasn't getting the ball. I think N'Keal. I'm hopeful N'Keal will have a breakout year next year, depending on who's a quarterback. But I still think he's a baller. I still think he can play.
He's got to show up this year though, because we can't
no one
just keep saying every year.
No one. Yeah, but you know what? The years before, Brady wouldn't throw it to him, and then he's only been in the league 3 years?
Yeah.
And then last year was
last year would have been his second year.
Mm-hmm. So last year was under Cam Newton year, so we really haven't seen him play. That's my only point.
And the one thing I look at with Harry is Harry's not going to be an every down target. Yeah. It's just not who he is. But rest in peace to Vincent Jackson. I see him more of a Vincent Jackson type. He's going to be a red zone threat, and he's going to be a deep ball threat. And those guys disappear for 75% of the game. But guess what? They go 5 for 100 and a touchdown, and you're like, okay, that's a good game. Yeah. You just don't see him. His name isn't called often. I'm okay with that guy. Yeah. But can he be that guy? He will never be that guy with Jacoby Myers and Demir Byrd. He needs a legit threat. Yeah. If we got a Michael Thomas, I guarantee Harry could go for 70 catches and 1,000 yards and 8 touchdowns. Well, someone needs to draw the defenders away from Harry.
He doesn't have the speed for one-on-one.
No, but
the speed in the NFL.
We did see some big 50-50 balls that he went up and got.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm excited for.
He has a big body.
I think he caught I don't remember what week it was. It was late in the season, but he caught a 30-yard third down or something.
Yes.
Over the middle, skied for it. That's my interpretation of what he is. And you factor that into some sort of red zone passing game, which we didn't have last year.
Yeah.
He's a perfect red zone target.
And that's what I think Bill was looking for, because that's what Brady loves. You put Brady in the red zone, he's going to score a touchdown 9 out of 10 times.
Yeah, just back shoulder.
And I think that's what Bill looked for. I don't care if he catches 100 passes. I care if he catches 8 touchdown passes at the goal line.
The red zone and
then, let's hope that Harry can, one, start the season healthy. Because towards the end of the season, when he was playing tight end, not tight end, but playing inside, he would chip block and then release. maybe that's his position, and maybe that works. And then in the goal line, he's a touchdown threat. I don't know. Hopefully, if I am ready for Cam to come back, because 7-9 with Cam missing a few games and potentially a hurt shoulder, there's room for improvement there.
We saw the interview too. Like I'm gonna refer back to it, the I Am Athlete interview. Like he admitted, like he lost it mentally. Like he became
the COVID, right?
Yeah, during that COVID streak, it wasn't an injury or anything. He said he just like he basically got caught behind in the offense. So like full off season, please. Like full off season, with hopefully new weapons and like an offense. Like they've had the entire time to design.
He doesn't have to miss 3 weeks.
Hopefully McDaniels can get his shit together and call some like correct plays. I'm sold on Cam.
I think they can learn a lot from last year.
Me too.
Did you guys see the one thing? Belichick loves Cam apparently.
Yeah, they love each other.
He said the one issue is that his arm strength he's worried about, which is understandable.
There's no question about it. Whether we're sold on Cam or not, he has to improve his accuracy.
100%.
Yeah,
And the short passing game too. The short passing game was
But I'm definitely down to give him another chance.
They need to sign it. They can't sign it.
I think we've all agreed in the past, few shows, if Cam Newton comes back, just draft a guy. That's fine. Keep Cam Newton. Stidham is dead to the league. He's the next Ryan Mallett. Like he's never gonna play in the NFL. So the reality is, just draft someone at 15 or in the second round that you love. I don't care. Take Javion Waddle. Javion, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Take Waddle at 15 if you want to, and then take a second round quarterback. Because guess what? The defense, check it off. I'm 100% confident with the defense. If we keep Gilmore and re-sign Jackson.
They were pretty good last year too. So if they're getting Hightower back and he's even 75% of what he was, if not better, because he's rested.
We need to see how the shape of Hightower, because he's been getting it to be a little bit of a big boy, and we need to see if he's still in football.
See, I just need him to be like 80% of what he was physically, maybe even 70%, but we need the mind. I think the leadership in the center of that set. Exactly. And that's what we miss with Kyle Van Noy. It sounds crazy because every time Hightower got hurt, Van Noy took over.
He's a free agent again, right?
So let's talk about that. Are we interested in that reunion?
Absolutely.
I am.
So here's the thing now. Before he left, he talked shit about Bill Belichick.
Did he?
Yeah.
He said, it's nice to be free and like do the power that I want.
Okay,
and get paid.
So he's gonna be the whipping boy when he comes back.
He said he was looking for a payday. So, I mean, Bill Belichick literally made him. He was from the Bears, who was nothing.
Lions.
Then he came here, Lions. Then he came here. He had an unbelievable year. Then he got like $50 million somehow.
From Miami.
And then when we realized that he needs Bill Belichick. They were like, "Oh yeah, get out."
Yeah.
Sorry, do you guys think there's something we don't know about his release with Miami? Because I think we were all kind of surprised that he got released because he did get a paycheck, like you said.
He said he was really surprised. He actually had a pretty good season.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, is there something we don't know?
I mean, that Miami team was
good.
He's mouthy.
Yeah, they were good.
If they had kept Fitzpatrick, I think they could have made
it's weird. So
a playoff run. But who knows?
Almost every player on every professional team has some sort of influence on the community. Fundraising, charity this, charity that. There's very few guys like J.J. Watt out there, and LeBron, things like that. But Kyle Van Noy was here for what, 2 years, maybe 3, and he was like McCourty. Kyle Van Noy. Like, this dude was at every event.
He was donating money. Paycheck every week.
Yeah, like Hightower and Mayo were the same way too. So maybe they kind of jumped into that. Like, I'm a linebacker. I gotta do what the linebackers do, and we donate our money and our time or whatever. But Kyle Van Noy was instantly a part of this community, and we got to, his wife, his kids, like everyone was involved, and I thought that was amazing. I'd love to have him back, but if there's a rift with Bill, they gotta squash it. But here's the thing. Business is business. I've told you to go fuck yourself. You told me to go fuck ourselves, and here we are recording episode 15. So you gotta squash things sometimes. So let's see what happens. But guys,
they said they're trying to trade him now. So there's news that he was going to get released, and I guess
always
like, we're going to trade him now.
Yeah. We'll take a 6th rounder from anybody.
I don't know where the media gets their contacts, but they are so freaking good.
Yeah.
The media just gets everything so
Yeah,
quick.
they're great at
so many
sports.
leaks.
They're not good at politics.
You have to
though.
wonder like
not
how
very
many
good.
rumors that were leaked where they're like, this is gonna be a juicy story, and then
Yeah.
the team has to be
There's
like,
definitely-
We saw that with Dwight
people
Howard
that.
getting signed, or like Lakers offered him a deal, and Lakers like, no, we did.
Yeah.
And then he's gone.
yeah,
He's
how
still
many
in Philly.
athletes are always like, it's like, oh, so and so was traded, and they're like watching Sports Center, and they're like, what are you talking
Yeah.
about?
Yeah. Or you can report your own news like J.J. Watt did,
Source
going to
feed.
the Cardinals. So
There
let's talk
should
about
be fines for that. Like, not to bring up another subject, but there should be, if you are a media outlet and you get the story wrong, there should be an immediate fine for you.
never
There
freedom
should
of speech. You can be wrong if you want to. Unless it's political.
Don't
So
go on a fucking-
let's talk about J.J. Watt, guys. So Chandler Jones is arguably one of the best ends of the last
He's a
almost
beast.
10 years now, right?
Yeah, he's a
I
beast.
think it's probably 8 years. I think it was 2012 or 2013 he was
Patriots should
drafted.
not let him do it.
I wish we didn't either. We had that weird conundrum of Hightower, Collins, and Jones all at the same time.
Pats haven't really been a pass rushing team since Richard Seymour left. So like,
Well, since Chandler Jones.
yeah, well,
Chandler.
Chandler Jones is the other
Chandler
one.
was-
Yeah.
And
So
he
now,
loves it, sorry.
now you got Chandler Jones and J.J. Watt coming off
On opposite
opposite
ends
ends.
too.
So
they
one,
both combined to have the most sacks of this decade.
It's gonna be
Makes sense.
the Cardinals. They were like, I mean, I had Kyler as like a potential MVP candidate. They started 6-2. They had a phenomenal Hail
fell off
Murray.
second half.
They
Yeah,
have
and then they
DeAndre,
fell- and then
they're
they
gonna
fell
get
off
Juju
after that.
Smith-Schuster, imagine.
Yeah, and if they get Juju, like Hopkins is
yeah,
already
so J.J. and Hopkins at the reunion.
like 1 or 2 in the league behind like him
Yeah.
and Devontae Adams or 1 or 2.
So 4 or 5 years ago, they drafted Jadeveon Clowney, and they're like, "Holy crap! We got one end, the other end. This is going to be a monster." And it didn't work out.
Now, who knows?
Yeah, Clowney's been okay, but it didn't work out to be what they wanted to. And one of you texted like, "Oh, they'll probably trade Chandler Jones." No. His first day in Arizona,
Joey B.
Jones and Watt were working out together.
Yeah.
If these two stay together, it might be. And JJ Watt is past his prime. But when you have to double Chandler Jones and
Yeah,
you leave
motivated.
JJ on a
That's
one-on-one,
a hell of an edge.
holy
That's a
shit!
hell of an edge.
It's going to be interesting.
Plus,
Yeah.
he's gonna be motivated being out of Houston, which is just like a wasteland of a franchise.
Jones has to take a
Yeah.
cut though, because they're paying him quarterback money right now.
Yeah,
20
but he's also one of the
performs,
best
though. Yeah, he
ends. Like he
performs,
leads the league in
that's the thing.
sacks.
Yeah, he was coming off an injury last year, a major injury, but if he's fully healthy, he's.
I mean,
easily
the Cardinals have a really good safety. They have, don't they still have Patrick Peterson?
So Peterson
Oh,
is a free
he's a
agent.
free
He's
That's right.
he's like father time too. He's been over there.
He's
back
so
and forth.
good.
And he's
though.
getting good
He's
too.
so
He's getting better.
good,
Yeah.
though. Yeah, I mean, I think the Cardinals are a team to watch next year. Like, that's gonna be cool to
Yeah.
see. And
They got to figure out the running back. I think they got to get more consistency
Yeah, David
with Drake.
Johnson's a little old. And
Well, no, they had Drake and Edmonds.
No,
They traded David.
they
right?
did trade David Johnson.
Yeah,
He's-
they had Drake and
Yeah,
Edmonds.
Drake did not perform well.
He's
this
the
year.
one light spot the Texans have. Right?
No, well, they alternated games and like it's kind of a guessing thing. Running back by
Probably seen
committee.
him draft it, right?
Yeah. So the other name, guys, comeback player of the year, arguably one of the best, sports comebacks. Not even statistically, just being able to be an athlete again was Alex Smith.
It's like the one of the ultimate sports stories.
Yeah.
Did you see the documentary too?
Yeah.
I saw
It
the
showed
picture
his
there.
leg.
I think his bones like sticking
Yeah,
out.
dude.
Gross.
Yeah.
So the Washington football team decided to release Alex Smith. I think for them, it's the right thing to do. They got that defense rebuild, and I think they need to go younger. I don't know if they're even committed to Heineke, but I think they want to let Alex Smith have an opportunity to play somewhere if someone wants to give him that opportunity.
It's tough because it's the right business decision, but on
Ethically.
a sports level and an ethics level, like you want to see Alex Smith back there. You want to give him one more chance. Like they made the playoffs with him,
And he
like,
was, 4-2 last year as a
something
starter?
Like, I mean, he had to play because Haskins was just. I mean, Haskins is gone right now.
They went through 4 guys.
Yeah, so and it's also like him and Ron Rivera, I think, were beefing a little bit. Like Ron Rivera was going through his own shit, so it's like you can't really be mad at that because it's like who are you gonna side with, Ron Rivera, who just went through cancer treatment, or Alex Smith, who's coming back from a life-threatening leg injury? It's like
So
you
that
think both are right. It's
you
like,
bring that
you
up.
know what I mean?
The Ron Rivera Cam Newton reunion has been rumored.
Yeah.
We got to keep an eye on that. I mean, that makes sense for both of them. I don't know if the weapons are much better there than they are here, but
They are. McLaurin is.
McLaurin is
I know.
And they also have the young tight end too. Not Jordan Reed. Don't they? They have another stud tight end that
you're
we
right.
picked up in fantasy.
Yeah,
He was
a couple
killing it.
times.
Yeah.
You're right, I can't think of his name. But, so guys, Alex Smith, I think he wants to play football. I think he's going to sign somewhere. Will he be a starter or a backup, and where do you think he ends up? So I'll give you guys mine. I already brought them up once. I think he goes to the Bengals. So I know I said Mariota should go to the Bengals, but Alex Smith is another one that makes sense. Go start the season. If things are going well, you let your future franchise quarterback rest, take as much time as he needs, and if things go south, you bring Burrow in. So I think Alex Smith going to the Bengals makes a lot of sense. There's not a lot of quarterback vacancies this year. I think going into this year and maybe next year, depending who retires or falls off, might be the best quarterback across the board of the entire NFL that we've seen in a long time.
Very competitive season.
I mean, the Dolphins think they have their quarterback. The Bengals.
I'm still not set on.
Me neither.
Yeah.
But everyone thinks they have their quarterback for the most part, other than some shuffling.
Right.
So it's like
We got the ROY in San Diego. The Chargers. The
LA Chargers.
I
So
always say same.
guys, any predictions for Alex Smith, and is he going to be a starter or a backup?
He's going to be a backup, unfortunately. I think I would love him in New England. But that's the thing. It's like I can also see him in Baltimore as a backup to give them a different sense at quarterback in case of injuries and stuff like that. But it's how they're designing the offense that always comes into play with the backup quarterbacks. He wouldn't fit in Baltimore's system as it is right now. He's especially after a leg injury. He's not a sprinter anymore. So I could see that. I definitely agree with you in Cincy as well as a solid backup and someone for Burrows to learn from, and Alex Smith can be in the game more as a coach and that angel on the shoulder, just whispering to
in the headset the whole
yeah.
time. Yeah.
So I could definitely see that too. We could also, who knows? We could see him in Green Bay depending on what happens with Aaron Rodgers. There's a lot.
Him and Jordan Love.
I think there's a lot of places where Alex Smith can go, and I think after last year, maybe I'm just hopeful, but I think after last year leading that team to the playoffs, and their defense as well led them to the playoffs. But Alex Smith was a part of that. We've seen him throw for over 300 yards multiple times. He was still Alex Smith, the game manager, but we've seen people win with that. So give him a chance. As a backup, probably.
I mean, you watch Tyreek Hill, and how many passes does Mahomes throw 30 yards down the field? Or does he throw it 5 yards and Hill gets the other 25? So the other team I was thinking about with Alex Smith, and sorry if you guys already had this one, the New Orleans Saints.
So go ahead.
You bring back Jameis and Taysom Hill, and you bring in Alex Smith, and Smith and Winston are competing for the number one job. The other one backs up if it doesn't work, and then Taysom Hill does his every other series, gets his stupid play at tight end or something like that.
I wonder if he's okay with that role though, because I feel like at some point Taysom Hill probably says, "I can play. I want a bigger role."
He had his chance this year in some capacity. Taysom had his chance.
Yeah, he was okay.
He was okay, but he wasn't. Yeah, he wasn't electric. You know what I mean?
I'm sure some team will overpay for if someone needs a starting quarterback and they look at Taysom Hill and they go, "Oh, they'll probably see some
there's a lot of.
He could go to Kansas City and just be another weapon for them. You know what I mean?
There's a lot of quarterback.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, those dominoes need to start falling soon because I'm getting anxiety. But
Curtis Samuel or Taysom Hill are going to Kansas City. I'm saying that.
I want Curtis Samuel.
I have a feeling Alex Smith is going to end up in Chicago for some reason. I don't know why. I think
I
that's
was
not
Chicago too. Exactly. There's so many places where he could go.
I think they have enough there already where he can go in and be sort of game manager, but also kind of elevate them.
He could fucking go to Philly. You know what I mean? He could be a backup in Philly too.
Yeah, but it depends if does he want to be a backup or does he want to go to
He's
contender?
going to be a backup regardless, unfortunately.
See, but that's why I like Cincy or the Saints, because the Saints obviously aren't committed to Jameis Winston mentally yet. They haven't given him the contract. Yeah. They haven't given it to Taysom Hill either.
I think they have confidence in Jameis though.
I think so too, but they haven't showed it yet.
He didn't throw 30 interceptions, even though he only played 2 or 3 games. But his interceptions were down.
They haven't signed him yet, so that leaves the door open. But I think Cincy makes a lot of sense too, because Burrow's their quarterback. He was going to win the Rookie of the Year. Yeah. But he probably won't be ready for September. Yeah. So Smith makes a lot of sense there. Yeah, I don't know. Joe, any thoughts on Alex Smith?
He's definitely a backup. I like kind of what you said about the Bengals.
Starting the season.
Burrow won't be ready probably till maybe November-ish.
They're saying 6 to 9 months sometimes on these ACLs,
but it depends on
how
the body reacts.
I think he's already he seems like a freak athlete to me though, where I feel like he's already ahead of schedule.
He was walking 4 days after he had the surgery.
Yeah, I feel like he's going to be Brady or AP, where he's just going to be back and it's
my bones still hurt from Brady.
Yeah, literally. So not too much with the NFL. Let's jump into the NBA, guys. So we're going into the All-Star break. Celtics had a nice 4-0 stretch to finish. Kind of getting them back into the middle of the playoff pack, and they actually feel like a good NBA team. But let's go over it right now. The East rankings, power rankings, top 5. I'll give you guys mine right off the grip. So I have the Nets, Sixers, Bucks, Celtics, Heat. Those are my top 5 in the East. Kyle, follow me up.
I have a very similar top five. I have Sixers ahead of the Nets right now, but that could
Slowly
fall.
dwindling.
Yeah, I'm starting to drink the Kool-Aid of the Nets, unfortunately. So I have Sixers, Nets, Bucks, Celtics. I have the Hornets sneaking in at 5.
Hornets are good. They're a fun team to watch too.
Overperforming, yeah. LaMelo is
They're playing
kinda-
really
I don't think they're
well.
overperforming. They're deep. And
They,
Hayward's in
they
a
are
row.
deep. I think they've also had Graham's been injured a few times. Their other starting guard.
Monk has been injured.
Monk's been injured.
Batum,
Rozier's
the
performing.
guys who have been sticking out to me so far, Batum a little bit, but mostly Scary Terry is killing
Batum's
it.
on with them. He's with the
Batum's on
Clippers.
remember?
Oh, right. My bad.
Yeah.
But he has
Oh,
played well
Scary-
for the Clippers. He has played well for the
Scary
Clippers.
Terry's playing well. LaMelo took over the starting job, and Hayward's been performing well. But the thing is, it's so funny to watch Hayward now because he's not a number one option there either. Like he started the season.
He's
as
leading
number
the team
one,
in scoring, but he's
but
like,
it's like
It's
what,
funny how every
19, 20
style
points a
that
game.
leaves the Celtics just
Yeah.
does very
It's the same role he's going to play with the Celtics. That's why it's so frustrating to watch. And the
Like
fact
when-
that we didn't get Batum, still,
like when
I'm
Kemba
pissed
ends
you
up-
brought up that name.
Yeah.
Every time I see him play.
He was on the team like 5 years ago.
who's
Sorry,
your
Joe.
who's your top 5 in the East?
I just meant when Kemba ends up leaving, he's going to be a star somewhere else.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
probably.
Probably.
And
So
he's
in the
playing well.
East, I'm gonna go. I gotta go Nets at the top, especially like they're getting Blake Griffin too.
It's
Yeah.
hard.
Like,
It's hard.
Drummond. whoever
probably
they
get
want,
Drummond too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Nets are gonna be number 1. Sixers 100% number 2, and I think those are really tight. To be
Yeah,
honest,
they
I think
are.
they are.
Sixers are
I think
playing
the
well.
Sixers can play very good defense with the depth they have, and can compete with the Nets. Like that might be a 6 or 7 game series. Bucks gotta go number 3, and I'm gonna stick with it, even though I know that the Heat are very competitive. I think that the Raptors could also be in the mix at 4, but we don't know what's gonna happen with Lowry and potential trades. If they get Drummond, Raptors are going immediately to 3 or 4 for me.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
as of right now, I'm sticking to my guns. I'm saying the Knicks.
The Knicks at
I'm
4?
saying the Knicks just because they are, in my opinion, they're overperforming. Thibodeau's done a great job with that team. That they play defense. They're like, I think tops in the league in perimeter defense, and we know how much that hurts the Celtics, especially how they live and die by the 3. And in some cases, the Heat as well, and even the Raptors to some extent. Like they're a very deep perimeter team with Van Fleet. I'm gonna say the Knicks. I like what they're doing this year, and
They're very deep.
I don't want to give the Celtics any credit until they prove it to me. I'm
Their
sorry,
their
like,
ones and their
Very
bigs are very deep.
Julius Randle's killing it this year.
So Randall's played well, Barrett's played well, Mitchell Robinson,
Mitchell
Nerlens
Robinson's been
Noel,
injured, too.
Emmanuel
They
Quickly,
have Noel as a
Derrick
backup.
Rose. I mean,
They traded for Rose. Yeah,
so
it's
they're
interesting.
very deep. They're
They
playing
also
well.
traded for Dennis Smith Jr.
They traded Dennis
Dennis
Smith
Smith Jr.
for
That's
Rose.
right. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So like,
So who was your 5? The Heat.
Oh, we're doing 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna put the Heat at 5.
Outside of the top 3, the East is so jumbled where it's like, yeah, the Raptors and like,
You could be a trade away
one-
from
Yeah.
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
like cementing yourself up there.
Mhm.
Joe.
Mine's the Nets, Sixers, Bucks, Celtics. I know I've been hard on them more, but I think that they've been playing well lately, so they deserve.
4-game winning streak. Yeah.
Yeah, and I went with the Knicks last.
Knicks, yeah.
We all have really similar top 5.
I really like the Knicks too. It's in basketball. The parity in basketball is just so fun to watch right now. I mean, you have this in front of you.
Yeah, it's
So like
super competitive.
the Hawks are super disappointing, and the Magic have injuries. But like outside of that, the Wizards are getting super hot. The Hawks have had injuries. The Pacers, they've had injuries with LeVert and Warren.
And the Wiz have injuries. They started the season without Tom
No.
Bryant, basically. Like they've had
Done.
injuries too,
And
yeah.
Bertans have been hurt. Like this is a fun year. So let's jump into the West. I'll give you guys mine right off the grip. I have the Jazz. I mean, I can't deny them anymore. I really can't.
No.
Jazz, Lakers, Suns, Blazers, Clippers. And the only reason I put the Blazers over the Clippers right now is I think the Clippers rely way too much on their big 2. And if one of them's off or one of them sits, they kind of struggle. Where the Blazers are missing McCollum, Nurkic,
Lillard's killing.
Who-
The
White kid, Zach
power
Collins.
forward,
So
yeah.
3 of their starters are not playing right now,
Yep.
and they are still lighting up and playing so well. So I think the Blazers are going to be scary. If they can get healthy in time to find that chemistry, I think they're going to be scary.
Yeah, Melo's playing well this year too.
Melo's
playing a very good supporting role. Like, he
I
just
have
fit right in.
Lakers, Jazz, Suns, Blazers, Clippers. I think that the Jazz are obviously like the best record and everything, but
the Lakers are missing AD,
and when we think about the Jazz, they do well and then they just sort of fall off.
it's been a few years now.
Yeah. This is tough. I'm gonna put the Clippers number 1 just because
The Clips?
the Clips number 1. Yeah.
Wow.
I don't think they're on a 3-game losing streak right now, but I think that you can't deny the star power of Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. Like, regardless, in a playoff series, I would take those two. I know they had a tumultuous year last year.
Yeah.
Like, this year, they're up and down, but they've had a bunch of sit-out games. I think that Zubac and, what's his face? The dude who was on the Raptors.
Serge Ibaka.
Serge Ibaka, like, give them a nice little 1-2 punch and, like, different lineups they can do with bigs.
It's
We
weird.
have Lou Williams. Like,
They
I
have
think-
point guard depth, but they don't like their point guards.
Yeah,
Like
Beverly question mark.
Beverly
He's-
Jackson and Lou Williams, but then they don't like their point guards.
Jackson, I'm not sold on Jackson, but I think he's a nice option, like a scoring option off the bench. Like, the problem is they also have Lou Williams. So, like, if they can flip Jackson for another piece, that's probably a smart move in my mind. But he's fitting well with them this year. I mean, they're 24-14. They're no slouch. They're 4 games back at number one.
So you said Clippers, Jazz?
I'm going Clips 1. I'm going Jazz number 2 because, like you, I can't deny them anymore. I wasn't sold on them continuing it, but they're doing well. I'm going to do Lakers 3 just because of Anthony Davis, but it's clear they need depth. They need shooting depth. They do not have it right now. They're still messing with the lineups too, and I know that's based on injury, but like in my mind, Kuzma's a starter, and he could be he can be a big.
He play a
big
3.
three. Yeah, exactly. And Caldwell Pope had that big contract last year, and he is not performing at all.
No, he's very average, and I think the Gasol thing was a mistake. He's
not fitting in.
I
I thought he was going to be more of like he fit in with Toronto.
unless you're playing the Jazz in a series, if I'm the Lakers, I'm starting Anthony Davis, Kuzma, and LeBron, and you are plenty big enough.
Yeah.
But if you play the Jazz, you go with Gasol to play against like a Gobert or like Embiid or whatever,
exactly.
Jokic, whatever. But like
They definitely got him for a reason.
Yeah,
but,
I get it, but he shouldn't be in your starting five consistently.
I agree. They need to move him to the bench.
So who do you got after the Lakers?
Suns.
Okay.
I was sold on the Suns. I love the Suns.
Yeah.
They
And they're
started
getting
slow.
healthy.
They had a
They're
slow
getting
start.
healthy. Yeah, they had
Yeah.
a very slow start. And for 5, I'm going to say the Blazers just for the same fact that, they're doing this without full strength. Like, what the hell is
Without a
going on?
25-point scorer
They
plus
jumped.
Nurkic.
They're already
They
scared.
jumped
Zach
into the
Collins.
play.
Yeah.
They jumped in the play. So I can't deny them either. So that's my top 5.
Cool. What
Yeah.
you guys got?
For me, I got Jazz 1, Lakers 2. Even though the Lakers are hurt, once they get AD back, you can count them out.
Yeah.
I got the Suns 3 because, like we said, slow start, but they're killing it. They're kind of like the team we thought they were going to be.
Exactly.
And then I have the Warriors actually at 4 because even though they don't have the best record, I do think that they are one of the most dangerous teams, and I think Steph is playing that well with that team.
We've seen Wiggins and or not Wiggins, but Oubre finally.
Oubre looks good.
Finally
Wiseman's
come
been
together,
solid. Looney. I mean, that team is deep and they're young. They're like fairly young too.
They clearly need another piece
Yeah.
though. Like but yeah, I mean, it could go either way this year.
Yeah, they're a few
Steph,
games back,
Steph is
but-
definitely in the MVP contention again. So
Yeah.
It's jumbled enough like the East where they're a couple games back from being like the 2 seed. So, and then I'm like the opposite of you, Luke. Where I can't drink the Clippers Kool-Aid. For whatever reason, the Clippers run me like the Texans kind of in the NFL, where like there's just a franchise I can't. Like no matter what they do, they're not going to win.
that's fair.
It does kind of feel that way. Even like you go back to the CP3, Blake Griffin, and DeAndre days.
I don't know, just
Before
something
that,
about-
Elton Brandt. It's just you're right. They just don't win.
It's because they
That's
always
fair.
have a great regular season, and then they always falter. It's like reminds me of the Pittsburgh Steelers. But then I have the Blazers at 5 because they're dangerous.
Joe, top 5 in the West.
I don't even-
Oh, you did yours? My bad. Let's skip the overall because I think it's basically the same 10 teams just mixed up a little bit. So who is your guys right now? Let's start with the comeback player of the year, and I know that's not a actual NBA award, but I'll give you guys mine first. So I have 2. Gordon Hayward. He's finding a role. I said it at the beginning of the season. He is fulfilling his role. I don't even know his stats, but I know it's low 20s, probably 5-5, if not 6-6. He blocks shots. He's playing defense, and for the most part, he's been healthy. I think this year his mentality is, if I can play, I'm playing, and I like that. Like, I think we coddled him a little too much because of the leg, and it was bad. It was obviously gross. But then every time he got hurt, it was like, no, you take some time off. We got you. And now he's like, no, my hand hurt. I'll take a game off. I'm back the next game. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, it's like the same injury that happened, except he broke it in the Celtics playoffs.
Exactly.
It's like, oh, it's a bruise. I'm good.
And the other person I have is obviously Steph Curry. He's in the MVP race. He's obviously, it wasn't a major injury that physically affected him long term last year because it was his wrist as well. But he lost Klay Thompson. He lost KD. He's got new Wiggins, new Oubre. Draymond missed half the season. Wiseman's in and out of the lineups. I think he's really doing the best he can with what he has around him, and he's winning games. So Curry's right there in the comeback player of the year, which is weird because he's
I
potentially
had-
winning MVP.
I had Steph Curry too, but I felt awkward saying
I
it.
know.
I had
Like,
two.
what?
It is weird, right?
I had Curry and I had Durant. Like,
Oh, that's a good
Kevin
one.
Durant is just killing it. And like, I know, like, I expected this, but I know that Kyle, you didn't expect him to come back with the full force he had, right?
Not
It'd
the
be
way
like
he's
every-
playing.
Durant
right,
might
like,
even lead in that, actually.
Yeah.
He might be over Curry.
You know,
Yeah.
KD slipped off my mind because he's been out for a few weeks now.
Yeah,
So like,
but I mean, like, he was MVP contention. He's averaging 30 points a game.
No,
Like,
I-
on that Nets team with like.
I
Kyrie
will
and
give-
Harden now, like,
I give Hayward and Curry the nod over KD because they don't have Kyrie and Harden. You
but
know,
he's still doing this with Kyrie and Harden. Like, it's just
Like,
it's
he's
like
still
added
getting his
onto
piece
it.
of the pie.
Yeah.
Is what you're saying? Yeah.
He's like 37-4 or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like he and also I love the heart he showed in that Warriors playoff game. Like I can never think of KD the way that like we think of Kyrie, just for the fact that he stepped out on the court knowing that his Achilles was already sore and he literally like left it all on the court and like
Yeah.
I can still picture the tendon just like
And him being like, no,
yeah,
that's not.
and just I can just see it and like the emotion that the GM felt for like KD doing that. Like I can never be mad at him.
Yeah.
Like he to me is a professional athlete.
Mhm.
He's a character person.
definitely
Despite what
professional.
despite what like him and Kyrie may have cooked up at the All-Star game last year or the year before or whatever, it's I can't be mad at him because he did like try to win a championship for the franchise. So like
Well, he's never
that-
been classless, so.
exactly,
No.
yeah, and like that added on to the fact that he's performing well this year, despite that they have a super team. Like, I just have to give it to him.
I agree.
Give it to him.
I agree. And the lineups have changed so much for them, and he's still been rock solid the whole time.
Yeah.
Kyle, you have a comeback player of the year?
Yeah, this one is actually a lot harder than I thought I had this one down. I didn't listen to all you guys. I'm like, hey, I forgot about Steph. But it's kind of weird because we almost like expected him to come back, so I didn't even really register Steph or KD. But I have John Wall because I didn't
It's a good
think he
one.
had
Yeah.
as much left in the tank as he
That's
has.
definitely a good one.
So like, yeah, kind of in my prediction, like I said, because I just kind of expected Steph to come back and dominate, even
Yeah.
though maybe not like this.
You know, I really wish that I followed the Rockets a little bit harder because
they're trying to trade them.
like a month ago, I was like, no, the Rockets are making the playoffs. They're going to get healthy.
Mm.
Depot. But like, Wall will play a game and Depot will sit, and then they switch it the next team. It's like those two never play together. Wood's been hurt. Like,
Yeah, the problem with the Rockets is they're still transitioning. Like Oladipo's already admitted he's probably not. Like he already turned down a contract extension, so he's not
Yeah.
coming back. So I think that they're planning ahead. So they're trying to give him rest. Whether they trade him this year or let him. I mean, they have to trade him this year. They have to get him off their books again because he's gone regardless.
he's gone
next
for
year.
nothing. Yeah.
So Oladipo is going to be gone. They might even be trying to move John Wall just to go full young. They have their center of the future in Christian Wood.
Mhm.
Cousins is already gone, right? Like they have,
What a dumpster
They
fire,
traded
huh?
for Kevin Porter Jr. too, who like obviously has personal issues,
But
but he's
that's
still a
fine.
good player.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's still a great player, and he's super young. So like, if you're trying to rebuild your franchise and you have Christian Wood and Kevin Porter Jr., like
Why do you
essentially
need
for
Depot?
nothing, like yeah.
Back when there was rumors of Jaylen Brown for James Harden, we were talking about it, I think back in the summertime, and I was like, no, James Harden is the problem in Houston. James Harden was not the problem in Houston because
Houston is the
Houston
problem in
enough.
Houston.
Yeah,
I
Houston, you
would-
do have a
I
problem
would,
because
I was sold on Harden back then.
Yeah.
I don't even remember,
God, he's
but I'm
murdering
completely
it
sold
for
on him.
the
The way that he's averaging like 16, 16, and 16.
Yeah,
What the
Kyrie
fuck?
literally said
What the-
Kyrie's
yeah,
like a
Harden's
top
point guard.
3 point guard in the league. You said no, James Harden's the point guard. I'm all set.
I'll just wait over here for you to pass
Yeah.
the ball.
Kyrie's also like on planet Mars. When they launched down that rover on Mars the other day, Kyrie was like driving it.
Yeah, with Harden in the back seat.
You
So
can hate Kyrie all you want, and like I think he's definitely got
amazing,
some issues.
Yeah.
But
he is one of the most magical players
he's
to
so
watch.
good.
It's the
That's
way he
the
can
whole
move his
concept.
body.
Those three players are it's frustrating that they're on the same team because I want to see a playoff series with each of them individually, but like whoever they match up against from the East is going to be so.
Let me ask you guys
fun.
this. I don't want to go far down this rabbit hole, but think about the big threes in history. I would take that big three over Steph, Clay, and KD.
Jordan, Pippen, Rodman.
Take him over that.
Yeah.
You take him over.
It's too
Bird,
early. For me.
McHale.
I want to see what happens in the playoffs because I would agree, talent-wise, they're 100% number one.
Of course, but just right now, like,
On paper, yes, 100%.
They are
insane.
thoroughbred basketball
And
players.
I
Like,
kept
they
saying
are
it.
all athletic. They all have the
shooting,
God,
passing, it
Yeah.
doesn't matter.
and they have the like just the bravado of like I'm gonna fuck you up on this court.
And you know what's funny?
Yeah.
So
they all
Kyrie averages a block a game in his career, And Harden, the worst defender in the league, averages a steal and a half a game in his career.
Yeah.
So he'll let you go by a million times.
He's,
So when
he's still a -3 though.
He's
Because
leading
I know,
the
I
league.
know.
He leads the league in assists too.
I
it's
really
crazy.
underestimated how good Harden was. He had a triple
You underestimated them was just KD and Kyrie. You're like, oh, they're gonna implode, and
Yeah, well, because I thought Kyrie was going to lose his mind.
he still did. He still did. And
Yeah,
there's
He's
no-
so good.
I know. Yeah, it's in a way it's kind of taken some of the pressure off the Celtics for me because I kind of just go, okay. It's like when the Warriors were really good, I was like, oh, well, it doesn't matter what the Celtics
No
do
one in
because
the
the Warriors
Warriors
are
yeah,
so
yeah.
good.
No one's beating the Nets right
Yeah,
now.
so it's kind of nice because it's like, oh, cool, we're probably going to lose to the Nets, and if we
I
don't,
love
then
being.
great.
I love being an underdog. Yeah, I
Yeah.
love being an
It's
underdog.
way better.
Yeah,
Takes the pressure.
100%.
Let's move on. Most improved player. So someone who was healthy last year,
It's a tough
going
one,
this year.
man.
So I have right now Jeremy Grant.
Yeah.
And last year with the Nuggets, he ipso facto became like the number 3. So it was Murray, Jokic, and him, and it was jumbled in with like Harris and Barton and Michael Porter. But Jeremy Grant would attack the paint, something Murray does a little bit, but he would attack the paint. So Jokic would get in the middle, and Jeremy Grant would just drive to the basket, and he'd dish it off to him every time. And now Grant is essentially the number 1 option.
He's a star player right
And
now.
he's
yeah.
averaging like 24, 5 and 5, and he plays defense. He blocks shots. He's a very good player. I would love him at the 4 for the Celtics.
Yeah.
He doesn't play the same style as Tatum, but he's the same physical stature. He's like 6'9", he's long, lanky, athletic, but he can't shoot as well as like Tatum and Brown. But I really like Jeremy Grant. I mean, he went from 12 points last year to 24 this year.
Mhm.
That's you're doubling in like your 8th season in the league. So I give Jeremy Grant the nod there.
I couldn't decide. Here's the thing. There's so many, like, this is back where the NBA was in, like, the 2000s, like, early 2000s, where it's, like, you had a star on every team. Every team was fun to watch. Like, I think this, besides the Cavs right now. Because,
But even
like,
Sexton's
even
really
Sexton's
good.
But, like, it's just so exciting to see how competitive the NBA is. But for most improved, I mean, Jokic is in the conversation. Jokic, like the Joker.
You think so?
He's an MVP candidate.
He was
right now.
MVP candidate last year, though. So how was that most
Not
improved?
as much. His scoring is way up this year.
He's improved. You could throw Donovan Mitchell in there, just for what the Jazz have done
Yeah.
this year.
I had Jamal Murray going into the season as like taking the
he
next
started
lead.
slow a little bit,
But now he's turning it up.
Yeah.
He has 2 50-point games this year,
You
doesn't he?
could put Middleton in there too, just based on how he's performed for the Bucks this year. You could put Ben Simmons in there too, based
Which
on
his stats are
complete
down, but
turnaround.
like he's changed his whole game.
Exactly, he's changed the entire
That's a
offense.
good
Like
one.
Doc's letting him play, and you could also throw in Julius Randle
Yeah.
for how he's performing.
So
this year.
Julius Randle was on my list, and so is Terry Rozier actually.
Yeah, you could even throw Miles Turner in there too for being like defensive player of the year.
Yeah.
candidate. Like,
I
you know
initially
what I mean?
had Rozier, but he actually had a really good year last year too, which I think we're forgetting. He's only
Yeah,
had
no,
like
he did,
from
yeah.
20
He
to
just
24
didn't get-
points or whatever this
He
year.
didn't get all the media attention because they didn't have Lamelo.
Yeah.
I thought about Jokic too, but I don't think Zach Levine.
Zach Levine, that's
He's a good one,
another
too,
one.
yeah.
He was my initial, like Luke said, this one was really hard because I think I had like 3 or 4 guys in there and I kept like deleting and then re-adding and
Yeah.
I had Levine. It's
And he was
Christian,
good last year, but I mean, this year he's carrying it.
Yeah.
it's Christian Wood for me because
Christian Wood's a very good one.
yeah.
But he hasn't played in 20 games, so like
Yeah, but I know that's. He's
I like
he's
that
gonna
one too.
play by the end of the season. You know what I mean? He'll be back.
he should be back soon.
He's,
So let's go into Rookie of the Year. I think it should be unanimous. It's
Oh,
LaMelo
It's-
right
yeah,
now.
it's not
I mean, the kid's doing it all. He's shooting, passing, dunking. It doesn't matter. He's doing it all. He plays great defense. He is. And here's the thing. I really, really like Lonzo's game. I would love Lonzo over Kemba right now. Just the style of the play. Not that he's better than Kemba. I think he would just do better with Jalen and Tatum.
Yeah.
But I think LaMelo will definitely end up surpassing him.
I do too. I think the Knicks royally fucked up in drafting Obi Toppin, and I
And that was your guy too, right? Didn't you really like him coming out?
didn't like Obi.
Oh, you didn't?
No,
I had Obi winning Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, I didn't
Oh,
like.
you. I was gonna say, I think what do you
I
mean?
thought Obi was gonna be the same thing as Blake Griffin, except just a C Blake Griffin. You know what I mean? Like, I thought he fit on Detroit to like get back to that mentality and give him some playing time. But if like LaMelo's rookie of the year, if the Knicks had picked him up, they would have had their
Isn't
point
that
guard
the
of the
classic?
future.
Isn't that
Like,
classic Knicks though?
it really is. It's
They
just
always
like,
ruin
And
it.
Obi's been fine. Like he hasn't had a bad rookie
he
year.
has not played at all. He's not even in the starting 5. He's not
He
playing.
doesn't need to be in the starting 5
He's
as a
not.
rookie.
I think he's averaging like
He was what, the
12
2
to
pick?
15 minutes a game.
Yeah.
Was he
It's
the
not-
third?
No, I'm saying he's
he was
fine.
like he was like 7, I think.
Hey, you know who he's playing more than? Aaron Nesmith.
He's in the slam dunk
That's true.
contest, though.
That's true.
I know. Who do you have for your Rookie of the Year, Kyle?
Oh, LaMelo.
LaMelo. Joe,
LaMelo.
unanimous. All right, let's talk about MVP because I think this one's a tight race. For me, it's hands down right now Joel Embiid. I mean, he is next level. He is the best center we've seen since I don't know. I mean,
Ewing?
It's fun to watch.
no, I mean maybe Shaq.
People give him so much shit for like not hustling on defense and down like first little shit he does. How can you get mad at 30-10, like 30-14, whatever he is? Like he is.
He passes the ball, he blocks shots, he gets
is
steals,
a
his
dominant-
turnovers are
he is
down.
a dominant,
He shoots
dominant
threes,
big
he
man.
shoots free throws. I mean, he is.
He stretched
Shaq
out
was the
his game.
same way.
At least last
Big
year,
body
though-
ass was
Exactly.
going
He-
down.
Yeah.
You can't run.
Although
up and down
Shaq
the court.
could have been the greatest player of all time.
The one knock
Yeah,
on
he
him,
can stretch the floor now.
at least last year against the Celtics in the playoffs, he was gassed. Like, his conditioning worries me still a little bit.
But they play him like 38 minutes a game at 7-2.
And
It's like, how,
especially in that,
Yeah,
like,
but
in
then
that
they need
series
to
too,
give
on,
him breaks. So
on
maybe
that
that's-
team in that series though, like he knew he wasn't gonna win and he still competed.
I
You know what
agree
mean?
with you.
No, I know.
But how they need to do a better job managing his minutes.
That's on the
I
coaching
agree
end,
with
you
you.
know. They need
That's
to.
partly why they got Dwight too, to sort of give him a little break.
Yeah.
Who do you guys have? Current MVP.
Oh God, I gotta say Joker, man. I love a dominant big man, and the fact that he basically can average a triple-double every game as a starting center, and he's a hefty motherfucker too. Like he's a big boy, but he moves well with the ball. Like he's everything I want to be and more. You know what I mean? Like I want to be a 7 foot, 300-pound just phenom on the court. Like that's amazing. So I have him as MVP.
His turnovers drive me crazy, but yeah, I mean he touches the ball so much, so naturally you're gonna turn the
I was
ball
gonna say
over.
the offense
anyone-
runs through him.
Anyone who has that many touches is gonna have a high turnover.
Yeah.
Most likely.
The Celtics won that Denver game pretty easily, but the whole game was close because Jessup Jokic. Like
Yeah.
he was unstoppable in that game. He's
Didn't
my
he have,
MVP.
like 30 points in the first half or something ridiculous.
Yeah, he had
Yeah,
something
he was
crazy.
28
he
or
was
something
dominant.
first half.
His shot is so ugly, but it goes so high and it just like it doesn't even touch the net. It like goes straight
It
through.
looks like
I
he's
don't-
not trying, which that's how you know someone's really great. Was when it doesn't look like they're trying. Like
Like
LeBron.
Larry-
Same
like
thing
Larry
as
Bird.
Embiid. It's the same thing as Embiid too. Though.
Yeah. So who do you have right now in
I have
MVP?
Jokic.
Jokic.
I'm kind of torn. I have Embiid, but I don't think we should also sleep on Giannis. He still leads the league in like 2 or 3 categories.
Oh, it's so
He's still averaging like 30 points a game. He's top 5 in defensive rebounds. So like, you could still take it.
And
you could see Harden slip in there too. You can
And-
see KD. You can
and
see Steph.
don't sleep on the Wizards either. I mean, if they keep
Yeah,
going,
Beal.
make the playoffs, and
Yeah.
win a series with Bradley Beal, I mean,
Yeah.
This is where like the tale's old as time, like the most valuable player. What does that mean? It's so. This has been like a sports argument for decades. Like, what does that actually mean? Because like to Joe's point, if you take Giannis off that Bucks team, they're probably not very good.
I'm telling you right now, I would pay $1 million because I think the Wizards would be the Nets' kryptonite. If they end up playing the Nets in the playoffs, Beal will physically dominate Kyrie. Russ Westbrook on
He will
Harden.
knock
He
you
will
out,
kill
dude. He's
Harden
so bad,
and
dude.
KD just to say fuck both of
Yep.
you. And I'm like, those pieces, Hachimura is getting healthy, Bertans is getting healthy. If they can get Thomas Bryant back, I mean, I'm not saying the Wizards are legit.
They still need
I
depth.
didn't-
though.
I
But
know.
I
I do
agree.
consider Beal for my MVP as well, but
But
Yeah,
I
he
do
could be.
love. So they're playing Avija, however the hell you say his name.
Yeah,
Their
the
rookie that
rookie,
they
yeah.
drafted. So they might not be in it right now. But Beal is 26. Westbrook's like what 31. I'm not saying like that's the core, but
I
Beal
wanna-
is young
Beal's
enough.
only
I want,
26.
I want to see them.
Yeah.
I
26,
wanna-
27,
I want
yeah.
to see them make the playoffs so bad.
I know.
I love Russ just because he's so underrated.
It's a triple double.
It's
He's a
crazy.
walking triple double.
And no one respects it. It's crazy.
I think we kind of pay attention more when the Celtics play the guys, especially from like the Western Conference. But like playing the Wizards now, like I expect if Bradley Beal doesn't go for 40 against us, I'm
If
surprised.
anybody doesn't go for 40,
Yeah,
this
I'm-
is
They're
at this
not even
point,
playing
though,
bad
like-
defense, and Bradley Beal. Bradley Beal's ridiculous, but like the Celtics were playing relatively good defense, and the dude is just a walking bucket.
Right now, the Wizards are back to the John Wall Beal of like 5 years ago,
Yeah.
where like this is a game every time. So
Yeah.
I'm worried about them. Let's move on a little bit. What do we got next? Oh, we did some free agent / rumor mill guys. So let's take some predictions at where guys will end up. Blake Griffin right now, I have him going to the Heat. I think he will fit in well with Bam and Jimmy. I know there's rumors, or Shams said he's going to the Nets.
Yeah.
It's not official yet, though. So
James
if,
is usually pretty good.
he is
He's going to the
usually
Nets.
right.
He's going to the Nets.
But I don't think Blake is the right move for them. And I think he's a good piece for them, but I just don't think he's the right move. I think they're better off going for Drummond. So I have Blake going to the Heat. You guys got a Blake prediction? Nets?
He's going to the Nets, bro.
Nets all around?
Yeah, I think it's.
Okay. Andre Drummond, he will be bought out or traded in the next Probably this weekend, realistically. So who do you guys think he's going to?
I think Heat for that one.
You think he's going to Heat?
God, him and Bam would be scary.
It would be very scary, I think, but I don't know if he fits in the Miami offense.
I don't think so.
I
That's
think
the issue.
that he would fit in Toronto right away, and I think that makes them a competitor. And if they don't do that, but at the same time, we're hearing rumors about Lowry being traded and stuff, and like he had.
Yeah, the Raptors buying in or are they selling out?
The Raptors need to figure out what they're doing.
He had
honestly.
19 assists against us the other night. Lowry did.
Yeah,
And that was we forgot. That was without Van Fleet and Siakam, and we were all excited about the win. I like
Boucher. I was worried about Boucher straight up. He is a
good
player. He's lanky as fuck.
Yeah.
Like he is a good player.
Yeah, I don't like Siakam. I don't.
me
Siakam's
neither.
been playing, but on the other side, like if we were talking about most proof, like after last year, Siakam he's stepped it up
He
this
played
year.
well, yeah.
He's not in the league, like he's not in the conversation, but I'm saying he has improved.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any thoughts on Drummond? I think he's going to the Nets.
Not sure.
No.
I don't think they can.
I said what Heat.
They don't pay him anything. When you get bought out, you only have to pay the veteran minimum.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And that's what's crazy about these
I
buyouts.
fucking hate.
I know.
I hope he's going to Celtics then.
Right? We'll take all of them. Kevin Love, I think they're going to move on from him as well. He is going to the Clippers. If he gets bought out, I think he's going to go to the Clippers. I think that would be the perfect piece for them. He could play the 5 with Batum, or he could play the 4 with Zubac.
That's interesting.
But he can play outside. He rebounds. He blocks shots. I mean, he's the perfect.
He hasn't really played that much this year.
He's been
I haven't
hurt.
really heard
I
that.
wonder if he
Quote,
would end
unquote.
up in the Lakers.
The Lakers is another one. So
Like
I
boy LeBron.
That was my thought.
So I have a DeMarcus Cousins reunion with the Lakers. I think LeBron and him are boys. I think they're tight. AD and Cousins played together in New Orleans. I think it's just another depth piece because I don't think they want a third star. I think Schroeder's their third guy. I think they just need to fill the roles better. Like Pope isn't filling the role. Caruso isn't filling the role. Morris isn't filling the role. So I think Cousins coming in just being a physical body and a potential offensive threat.
I hope that Love goes to the Warriors. I hope
He'd be
goes
phenomenal
to
in
the
Golden State.
Blazers. I hope he goes to the Nuggets. I hope he goes to the Suns. I hope he goes to the Jazz.
I like
Just to like mix up
Yeah.
the
It would be cool to
NBA
see
a
him
little
on the
bit.
Suns.
It would be I would love to see that mixed up. I think him and Chris Paul would be phenomenal.
Kevin Love with Curry and
and on the Lakers, dude.
Kevin
Oh
Love has
my
had a really
god,
nice
dude.
career.
yeah,
And he could be their center too. Draymond moves to like the 4 or 5. Like I don't know. I think that'd be cool.
yeah, he's a good player.
But
So
more realistically, he's going to Lakers.
the one last one that just kind of his name's been heating up this year is Jeremy Grant, my most improved player of the year for the Pistons. He's averaging 24, like 5 and 5. I think he's staying with the Pistons. I know he's got to be close to 30 years old. I just don't know why they would trade him. I think if they trade, they're already the worst team in the NBA. If they trade him, it's like
They gotta have something, right?
you have to, right? Like I know Sadiq Bey's played well, and
Fuck City.
He torched us.
So fucking mad at Danny.
I know.
Let's draft Naismith, not play him, but let's
Watch Sadiq
pass
Bey.
on Sadiq Bey and
Yeah.
watch him torch us.
Save it for.
So I think they keep Jeremy Grant, but the price for him, because he's under contract and he's young enough and he's scoring, I think the price is gonna be too high for the competitors who are with restrictions.
They signed him to a big
It
contract.
was like 4 for 50 or 4 for 60,
Contract.
something
That's
like
where the
that.
trade exception comes in.
For us,
For
I don't think we'll
I
draft
think
him.
his contract's bigger than that. I thought it was over
Like 4 for 80, you think?
I thought it was like a
Maybe.
almost max.
I think he's gonna end up staying. There's a lot of rumors around him right now. I don't know if you guys have any thoughts on Jeremy Grant.
I would love him here, but I think the Celtics are also looking at Vucevic, and I would take Vucevic over.
Yeah, we'll talk about that on Tommy Points
3
for
years,
sure.
60 mil. Okay, so it's 20 mil.
So 20 million, yeah, okay.
Yeah,
All right.
they should keep him. I also, real quick, for Cousins, I have him going to Philly. 'Cause I think
Philly?
Yeah.
I don't know if that would fit. I like that idea of like having more depth for Embiid. Actually, that's
Kind
pretty
of to
smart.
replace Horford.
Because he can kind of play the
yeah.
4, because he can shoot a little bit.
And him and Embiid would be bad.
Oh my god, yeah.
And
Plus Howard.
Yeah, and add Marcus Smart in there. Why the fuck not?
And Marcus Smart.
Just to see it.
No,
just
we
to see
need
Cousins,
Marcus
Embiid,
Smart.
and Marcus Smart on the same team. I'm just saying, just to see them all on the
Yeah,
same
waiting for
team.
him to
the
come
bad
in.
boys.
Yeah.
Awesome. So guys, as we promised, we always do a bet of the week. I'll give you guys mine right off the bat. So I have Vegas, Golden Knights tonight. San Jose, I have over 6 goals. It's a late night game. I think it's just going to open up the floodgates. It's going to be like a 4-3 game easily.
Is it in San Jose?
It's in San
I was
Jose.
gonna say what happens in Vegas, but
I have
Yeah.
Bruins, Devils tomorrow. Bruins well over 5. I think they're
Really?
gonna smoke the Devils.
Yeah.
they're doing well. It's funny because they played the Caps Thursday, and it was like a defensive game. That game was brutal to watch.
I know. I took the over in that game.
And then they bounced back last night.
Yeah.
So. I have like a lock of the week. For some reason, I have Rory McIlroy winning the Arnold Palmer Invitational.
Wow.
He's like he's in the hunt right now. Something tells me Rory's gonna bounce back.
And where's the man?
Cool. Luke, you got your bet of the week?
Nope.
All right, we will skip you. Guys, this was episode 15 of Chasing Rings, the podcast. We'll also be releasing a Tommy Points, the Celtics premier talk show as well. Make sure you like everything, subscribe to everything. Just do it, all right? Stop messing around. Just do it, all right?
do it.
Nike, baby.
Thanks, guys. We out.